Hey guys, Rich Lopez with the Drop Time Traditions podcast. Tonight's guest, Mr. Matt Schuster. How are you, Mr. Matt?
Hey, I'm doing very well and hope you are, Rich.
I am doing fantastic. We're finally getting some much needed rain here. We've been in a drought here in Florida for almost 5 months, and now it's supposed to rain 3 days in a row. It's heavy rains, which is I welcome it because my lawn is like a giant tumbleweed right now.
Yeah,
And
we need it here too. We're in the same shape.
yep, I hear you. So before we begin, I want to acknowledge the show supporters. That's Stickbow Country Custom Arrows. Sorry about that. Traps Feather Rests, Traditional Bowhunter Magazine, Sauk Trail Archery, StickbowSupplies.com. My artwork is on the side of their trailer, so that's important. I gotta mention that for sure. Whiskey City Trad Gear or WCTrad.com, Jessie Savage Blacksmith.com, uh, traditionaljunk.com. Kevin Bishop, if you guys are looking for a good quality used bow, a vintage bow, he's your guy to contact. St. Joe River Bow Company, theethicalpredator.com, and lastly, stickbowhuntsmx.com, who was at the PBS banquet, which I saw you at. Um, so, Matt, you had a busy weekend there in Indianapolis with the Hall of Fame inductions and all that stuff. You were running around like,
Well,
you got,
it was, but it wasn't nearly as busy as when I was on PBS Council because you don't
okay.
see those guys. Those folks are really busting their butts.
Yeah,
So I had a great time there.
that's
It was a
good.
lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. It was. My wife, she's been to three of these things. Our first, well, actually one of our second, I think our second or third date, almost 40 years ago, was a PBS banquet, Wheeling, West Virginia.
That's sad.
Yeah, and
That's really sad that you took, but she's a keeper, obviously.
obviously because she doesn't bow hunt, I took her once, and she's like, "Nah, I'd rather just fish." Okay, fine, if whatever. And she actually loves the fact that I bow hunt because she knows where I'm at all times. You know, and life could be worse. I could be hanging out in a bar, but
Oh yes,
yeah,
yes. People
but
people are into this. We're into it,
yeah, I mean,
and it, yeah.
it's an illness almost, but it's a necessary madness. Is the way
Yes,
I
it's a
look at it.
compulsion. It is when I don't get to go hunting for a certain period of time, I can tell. I mean, my stress level, I just need to get in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Um, it's been raining here, so every time the rain would let up, I'd run out in the back. I got a 3D range set up in the back. 5, 6 hours, I'm good. I'm ready to take on the next customer, next angry body shop. I'm an adjuster in insurance, so I have a lot of angry people I deal with. So stress is at my age anymore. It doesn't bother me. When I was younger, I was very manic about it, but I just don't worry about it. Life could be worse.
Well,
So
that I think with age does come wisdom, and you do realize that all stress is
yeah,
self-induced, and that
yes,
there's nothing you can do about it. I mean,
mm-mm,
it is what it is. Because I was like the same way. I was very stressed out when I was younger because I worked for myself, straight
mm-hmm.
commission sales, and I'm not a natural salesman at all. But I'm a good account manager, and I worked in the athletic footwear business and work boots. And you realize there's nothing. Business is going to be what it's going to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, anymore now, it's like, I mean, I'm the elder statesman, if you will, for what I do in my job. And when I talk to a lot of shops, body shops, namely, we have to come up with a repair plan for specific vehicles. Now, a lot of these vehicles today are not user friendly because they're, electric cars. Everything's got a module or some sort. It's just, you got to have these real conversations with these people. And a lot of the younger folk don't understand, you know, what it takes to
No,
fix something.
oh, I get it. I get it because I'm one of those folks that doesn't understand cars. I just want it to go when I step on the accelerator.
Exactly, exactly. So, Matt, tell us where you were born and raised.
I was born and raised in a suburb of Atlanta in a non hunting family. My father grew up hunting pheasants with a 22 in South Dakota, but he did not hunt at all.
Mhm.
And I was very blessed that I had a friend that's dad had outdoor life and field and streams. And I picked those up when I was 8 or 10 years old and read them. And while everybody else was outside playing Army, I was playing Hunter. I
Mhm.
mean, I'd climb up on the top of my bunk bed that I shared with my brother and I'd shoot mountain goats like Jack O'Connor did. I mean, that I just always wanted to hunt. And eventually I got my dad into hunting, and my mother never forgave me for that ever.
Hey, do you remember a guy in Sportsafield? He was a writer many years ago, along the lines of the Jack O'Connor, John Jobson.
Yeah.
He wrote some great articles. He was an
Yes.
incredible writer.
Yeah. There were,
Uh,
you had to be a really, really fine writer back then to write for the big three.
yeah.
I mean, they
I,
might not have been great outdoorsmen, but they were fine writers.
so the big three: Field and Stream, Sportsafield, and what was the other one? Bowhunter
Outdoor
magazine,
life.
Outdoor
Outdoor
Life. That
life.
was it. Yep. Yeah, because I remember reading Outdoor Life when I was in the Boy Scouts, and Sportsafield just came to me. Um, I'm from a non-hunting family. My dad hunted once, like a corporate hunt per se, and he did kill a 160 class whitetail, and the one and only
Wow.
buck he ever killed. And he realized that I can't do this, Rich. I never did it again. But it's hanging in my man cave out there. Um, all yellowed. I mean, he shot it in the 60s. I mean, so you can imagine what it looks like. Um, but yeah, I mean, the hunting gene, I think, is in all of us, as our primal nature. Uh, but I think for it to come out, so to speak, you need somebody in your life that brings it out of you.
Yes.
For me, it was my brother-in-law, who's still alive. God bless him, 82 years old, and he still hunts. Um, his tree stand is actually the back seat of his old 1969 Blazer that has been cabled and strapped to a giant oak in Pennsylvania. So he
That's
climbs
awesome.
up. He climbs up 6 feet, sits there with his bow or gun, whatever he's working on at that time. And when he wakes up, if there's a deer in front of him, he'll shoot it. If not, he'll go back to sleep. At
Wait.
82, why not? Right?
Hey, as long as you go, that's
That's
the
right.
thing. You got to go.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So archery, how were you introduced into that?
It was really the same way through reading. I just always wanted to shoot a bow, and then I got my BB gun taken away. I got my parent back then. You could wander through the neighborhood with a BB gun, and we decided to play army with them and shoot each other. We
Mm.
were strict. We had strict rules, below the knee only. But we got caught, and all of us got our BB guns confiscated. But I talked my dad into letting me get an old fiberglass bow, and I shot that thing. I mean, I loved it. And he told me when I was old enough and I could pull a 45-pound bow, he would buy me one.
Okay.
And when I did, it was an old Ben Pearson Hawk, I think.
Okay.
Probably bought it from Kmart. But at the time, Georgia was the last state that had not legalized compounds. So everybody had to hunt with a recurve. So we had no idea what I was doing. None. If I saw a deer, I shot at it.
Right.
Sometimes it was so far away I couldn't find my arrow, but I had no mentor.
Mhm.
But eventually we figured it out.
Yeah, for me, my brother-in-law, and there was always the library and the American Sportsman shows on ABC. I mean, I
Mhm.
saw Fred Bear, and that's when the light bulb went off. And my mom was going through a divorce at the time, so she goes, "You really like that show because you couldn't get away from to come have dinner." And I was like, "No, I want to do this." And she's like, "Okay, well, we'll do some research." And she found an archery store in New Jersey that was near our house, and she drove me there on a Saturday morning, and I bought one Bitzenberger fletching jig with my paper route money, a dozen game getter arrows, and I just looked at it, and they had barred feathers, real barred feathers, green and orange, and I bought those and some orange nocks, and I read a book on how to make my own arrows, and I hunted with those until the anodizing on the shaft would wear completely off till it was just a silver, and they would bend so easy. I mean, just the slightest tink, and you got a bent shaft. So I was like, okay. Then XX75s got on my radar. And that was the
Yeah.
beginning of that. You and I are kind of cut from the same cloth, like a non-hunting family. You know, I went to the library a lot, read books. I remember Xeroxing How to Dress a Deer, and when I shot my first doe, I pulled out the Xerox copies.
Oh, that's great.
And of course, everything turned into a mess, but I mean, I got it done. And then I
Got it.
realized, yeah. And then, of course, biology classes in high school and whatnot, things started coming together. And then I started
Well,
meeting like minded kids in my high school. And then we would spend days just pussyfooting around in the fields with our bows, shooting pheasants, whatever, rabbits.
Oh, that's great. We would try in my neighborhood, we could shoot at squirrels, but we had to worry about where the arrows went because we didn't have a lot of woods, but we didn't
right,
really care.
right.
Eventually, my dad joined a hunt club, which was really interesting because he worked for what became Equifax.
Hmm.
Um,
Yes.
so the hunt club was half Equifax guys and half guys that worked for Budweiser. So it was a big drunk fest.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys brought women down there. And my dad just real quietly said, just we're not like all these people. And they were
Mm-mm.
great people. I'm not
Yeah.
judging them at
No,
all.
no, no, no. I just,
It was a great place and they were ethical. But I think I hunted there 6 or 7 years before somebody killed a deer with a recurve. And he was an 81-year-old man. And I just couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And after that, that's all I wanted to do.
right.
Um, I did pick up a compound the day that they were legalized in Georgia because everybody did.
Sure.
And I shot it for maybe 4 years, killed a bunch of deer, and thought, I don't know, this just doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
Reading Fred Asbel, reading Bowhunter magazine, and thinking those guys are doing it right.
Yeah.
And not that I care what somebody else hunts with, but I was walking through a trade show one day, and Dan Quillian had a card table with a bunch of bows stacked up, and grabbed me and said, "Come here, boy, shoot this bow." And boy, I never looked back.
Well, he's a Georgia boy. He was a
Yes,
Georgia
he
boy.
is. He
Yeah.
was a Georgia boy, and he always promoted traditional bow hunting. He just believed it was a superior hunting weapon. Um, and it was just, I mean, I just thank God for that day that he grabbed me and did that. And I bought one of his bows, and I've never picked anything else up since. I
Yeah.
think I was 24 maybe.
Okay. I met him many, many decades ago at a show. Super nice guy, Southern hospitality, just he had it all. And he had a great personality to begin with. So you were kind of drawn to that kind of an individual.
Yes, and he had a lot to do with us getting our bow season because our state game guys did not want a bow season, and he challenged a gentleman that was against it on a county commission
Hmm.
to a shoot off through a sandbag. Whoever got the most penetration would get their way. He could shoot his 30-06, and Dan would shoot a heavy arrow with a two-blade broadhead. And of course, you know what happened. The sandbag
Yeah.
stopped the bullet. Dan's arrow went right through it.
Yep.
And the guy supported it. And next year we had our bow season. He was
I
a cool
remember
guy.
I remember years ago, Paul Bruner did a demonstration where he took a piece of an elk hide with hair on it, and took an arrow with a two blade Zwicky, pointing upward, and just lightly pushed on it to show you penetration of a well sharpened broadhead. But then, obviously everything went to the conversation of weight, grain weight, stuff like that. That's why you see a lot of guys today shooting, upwards of 300 grains up front. And that's insane. I'm shooting 170. That's scary. It's blowing through everything I'm hitting. So,
Yeah, I shoot 225, and I don't seem to have a problem
no.
penetrating stuff.
So the bow hunting thing entered your life. You've been bow hunting for how many years now?
Oh gosh, 40 plus years. And I'd say added to my life, it might have ruined my life. I mean, it is a compulsion, and it has been a maybe too much of a priority for me. But I'll tell you, most of my friends, my best friends, have come through this sport. They're great people,
Yeah.
um, and I've just had so many good times. And it's kept me. I'm sure it's kept me from doing a lot of things that would be less healthy. Let's say, like you said, keeps you out of the bars.
Yeah. Keeps you out of trouble. Keeps you, I dabble here and there, but for the most part, my day begins and ends with archery and bow hunting. Because when I'm working my job, I've got people constantly sending me instant messages on how to fix a bow, how to do this. So I'm like, I'm working my job, getting my numbers, but I'm also working my other job, taking care of people and giving them the advice they need.
Well, and that's very satisfying. I was very fortunate in that I worked for myself, and as
Mhm.
long as I busted my butt, I generally could hunt Friday afternoons. A lot of times I'd be on the road, and I would have a place I could hunt on the road. So I got to hunt a lot.
Now you're still working?
No, I retired October 1st.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm kind
my
of working
goal
all that out.
my goal is to retire this coming August, but my bills said otherwise. So one more year, uno más, as they say in Spanish. So go on.
I was going to say that you will like it. So far, it's been great. Now, the middle of the summer, I might not say that, but so far, it's been great.
I mean, it's starting to get warm here. There's a lot of things I want to do, a lot of people I want to see, a lot of shows I want to go to. I mean, I'm stretched thin with all these archery gatherings. I got Baltimore coming up in May, which I have to go because I do the artwork for the t-shirts, and it's just I got to make an appearance. And then there's all these other shows. I want to go to Kalamazoo. I want to go to here. I want to go there. It's like, all right, I'm going to need to retire to do all that. So that's going to happen sooner than later, but we'll see.
Well, that's a good
So,
benefit.
do you have any hobbies outside of traditional bow hunting?
I mean, I like to fish. I
Mhm.
work out. I'm trying to learn to garden, but I can kill vegetables with the best of them. I mean, I'm going to learn, and but not really. I had to give up. I was athletic when I was younger, and I've got a bad back and messed up feet, so I don't do a lot of that stuff. It's mostly outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do.
Yeah, funny things about outdoor stuff. We forget. I forgot the permethrin a couple of weeks ago before the indie gathering, and I camped out in Ocala State Forest for a 3D shoot with Steve Teray from Northern Mist and his entourage, and everybody was spraying down. I said, "Nah, I'll be okay. I'll be okay." So I went to bed in my tent. I'm in my cot. Everything's cool. Sunday comes. I pack up everything. I go home. I go to take a shower and I'm covered from head to toe with these red, itchy welts.
Cheers.
Chiggers and sand fleas. They
Yep.
got on my clothing and I slept with them. And they slept with me and they ate me and they drained my body of precious
Yes.
blood and whatnot. Oh, yeah. I'm still itching. I'm
Oh,
still
it takes a
scratching.
long time for those to go away.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
bloodletting every night.
yeah, I'm telling you that paramethrin is. We may all die of cancer, but it's better than having that happen.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
yeah, funny story. This goes back about 15 years. My hunting partner, John, up in Maryland, he and I were turkey hunting in Maryland. We had this big, huge farm, and the whole field was soybean. So instead of walking around the field, he said, let's just cut through it. But he didn't have anything on, but I did. When he got to the other side, and that evening when we got back to the hotel room, he's scratching. He's like, oh man. So he lifts up his sleeve, and his whole arm and his legs, every square inch must have had 10 bites.
mm,
So 2 weeks later, his son was getting married. And I see him at the wedding. And I'm like, John, how you doing with the chiggers? He goes, oh, dude, they're killing me. They're driving me nuts. Check it out. And he opens it, and they're worse. And I was like, oh, you've been scratching it. You've been scratching it. And he goes,
oh man,
I was like, oh, he was so miserable for like a month or two, maybe. But
oh
yeah, those are nasty, nasty customers.
yes, they are. When I take guys hog hunting down here that are from up north, that's the first thing we do is spray them down.
Hmm.
Unless I don't like them, in which case I
Now,
just go ahead and let them suffer. Let
who
them get a
heads
little.
up? Who heads up the Blackbeard hunt? Is that are you guys
Uh,
part of that, or is that somebody
Jerry,
else?
I did it for a few years. Jerry Russell does it now. He's also a professional outfitter and a PBS member, and he's good. So I think he's been doing it the last couple of years.
I've been meaning to jump on that hunt. I probably
That
will
is a
next.
very, very cool place. There's a lot of history there. It's the oldest organized bow hunt on the federal National Wildlife Refuge, and it is just a gorgeous place. It is
Hmm.
breathtakingly beautiful.
Yeah, the videos I've seen, I was just like, wow, I got to do this because just it's not what I'm used to here in Florida. It's just a combination of the North and Old South. There are still some old oaks out there and some good trails, and it just looks really fun.
It is. It's just it's a beautiful place, and it's always been a very heavy traditional crowd. That's changing a little bit because there's more young folks going,
Sure.
but it used to be 80% traditional. It just always
And they do have chiggers there, guys.
they
So
do, and rattlesnakes and alligators.
yes, that's fine because I got them here.
Oh yeah,
Had a moccasin in the backyard the other day, so I had to take the hose out and kind of influence
ease them
him.
off.
Yeah, he decided to go back into the drainage ditch that we have behind the house and go find something else to do. My wife goes, "Why don't you kill it?" I say, "Why? He's taking care of rodents. He's doing his thing in the ecosystem. I just like there's no reason to kill an animal unless you're going to eat it,
That's right.
and I don't eat snakes. So
Nope.
so at any rate." Um, you served as past president of the PBS and were very active within it. Actually, you were one of my favorite presidents because you got a lot done.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
how long have you been involved with the PBS? When did you first join?
I've been in PBS about 35 years, and
Okay.
I was aware of PBS, but I'll tell you the truth, the name professional, I did not know what that meant.
Right.
It just didn't sound right to me. I'm not a professional.
Mhm.
And then I met some guys. Biggie Hoffman was one of the main ones. And he said, "Man, you belong in PBS." And he explained it to me. And I joined and went to a gathering. And I had found my people. And to really understand PBS, you do need to go to something and get around the people. Because for me,
Yes.
it's about the people.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
is.
it's been around for 60 something years. It's got its own personality. Um, there are other traditional organizations, Compton being one, which is also a great organization, but they're different. And
Very
what's great
different.
is they're both doing great, and that's great.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's been very meaningful to me, my involvement with PBS, and I'll never ever get out of it or put into it what I've gotten out of it.
Yeah, so I went to Harmony at the indie thing and I said, "Hey, is there a senior citizen discount?" She goes, "Yeah, you got to wait till you're 70." I'm like, "Oh God, come on, man." And she laughed too, because I'm going to be 66. And I'm like, "Okay, 4 more years, 4 more years." Um, but at any rate, so I've been a member since '78.
That's great.
Associate member, I tried for regular member twice. Uh, got shot down for various reasons. None of it made sense to me because
Really?
I was young. I was very young, and maybe it's the way I wrote, or my application process, or and now
Well,
at my age now, I really don't care. It's just like, all right, just whatever, you
I
know?
would encourage you to do it again. It is different. It was different back then in some pretty interesting ways. The process and the idea behind it's not different. There are people who go, "Why do you have a regular member and an associate member?" Well, there was a pretty good reason for that. When PBS was formed over 60 years ago, target archery was really big, field archery, and PBS is a bow hunting organization, and they did
Right.
not want it to become a target organization. So they wanted folks to join, spend a couple years, figure out if they belonged, go through the process, and then they could become a regular member. The only thing a regular member gets to do that an associate member doesn't get to do is their dues go up, which is kind of funny. You actually get the privilege of paying more. You get to vote in elections and hold office if you want to, and you can sponsor somebody else for regular membership. That's it. There are a
Mhm.
lot of people who've been associate members forever, and if that's what there's no real reason for them to change if they don't want to do any of those things.
Right.
I wanted to vote.
Mhm. Which
So
I think
for
is
me,
important. It's important.
it is.
I mean, as far as a sponsor is concerned, my only sponsor would be Don Davis because he lives an hour from me.
Well,
So
that's a pretty lousy sponsor.
yeah, right.
No, Don's a great guy.
Oh, I know.
And the application process is a lot easier now because it used to
Mhm.
have to be mailed around. And in some ways, they used to. I'll tell you kind of a funny story. When I applied, I was initially turned down because my answers weren't long enough. And that's what I was told. Your answers aren't long enough. And I said, but I actually know a little bit about how to write. They're kind of concise. So what I did, when I sent it in, I think it was 12. The size type was 12. I just
Mhm.
put it down to 8 and printed the exact same thing off, put it on more pages and sent it in and passed. I mean, which was pretty interesting, really. My answers didn't change.
Right.
It's now done via, electronically, and it's not a real difficult process for an experienced bow hunter.
Sure.
I mean, the idea is not to keep people out, is to let qualified people in.
Sure. I mean, I've been bow hunting since 1974. So that's a lot of experience there.
It is.
But at any rate, I will look into that for sure. I've been hemming and
Yeah, and
hawing about
again,
it.
if you don't, there's no shame, there's no
Mm-mm.
difference. You have every right everybody else does, other than those four things.
Yep.
Potent old office, sponsor somebody else. So there's no reason not to be just, an associate. I don't like the term just an associate. I hear people, I'm just an associate.
Oh, no, no,
No
no.
such thing. You are a
You're a
PBS
member of the
member.
PBS, and
That's
we're all
right.
brothers and
That's
sisters.
right.
So the word PBS, or the PBS itself, what does it mean to you? That's a pretty loaded question.
Well, for me, it's always been about the people. That's why I think it's important for people to really understand PBS is to go to an event and meet the people
Hmm.
because it cements them to the organization. Um, it is designed for to make it easier for an individual to meet people, share the knowledge they have, get knowledge from them. Like right now, I'd like to kill another mule deer. I don't know where to go, but I know if I go on PBS's website and start spreading the word, somebody will help me.
Yeah.
Somebody that knows what they're doing. Um, I also take a lot of PBS members down to where I hunt in South Georgia, the Paradise, and the guy that runs that's a PBS member named Sam Roberts. Great
Mhm.
hunter, great guy, one of my best friends. And he said one time, whenever you bring somebody from PBS, I know I don't have to worry about them, and that's kind of cool. Um, does it mean you have to be some super experienced, super prolific? No, everybody has to learn. Everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, PBS is a very welcoming organization. But I would encourage people if they really want to figure it out, go to an event
Heck,
because it
anybody
is,
wants to go with me. I'll take you.
yeah, it's just so much fun. And now that we have hunts all over the place, you even get a more intimate experience because you
Oh,
might be with
yeah.
6, 7, 8 guys and you'll get to know them. It's pretty cool.
Heck, when I went to Mexico 2 years ago, after the stick after the not Indianapolis, Lexington, I went and I met and I hunted with PBS members I've never met before, and now we're best friends.
Now you're buddies. Yep.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. I saw one of my buddies, Jerry Oliver, at Indy. Oh, I saw him walking through the parking lot, and I like snuck into this corner. And as soon as he came in, I just jumped on him, gave him a big hug. It was just like like a long lost brother. I hadn't seen him in 2 years. It was great. You know,
Well, I can remember in Minneapolis, the hotel manager at the very end of the event said, "I've never been around a more huggy group in my entire life." She goes, "You people all really like each other." I went, "Yeah, we
yeah,
do."
we love each other. Some of
Yep.
us. You know.
I'll tell you another really cool. I took a friend of mine. It was his first gathering, and he got there a day early. And I was on council at the time, so I was working. I took him into the vendor room, and he looked around and he looked up and he saw 3 or 4 guys that he recognized from writing. Don Thomas was setting up a booth. I think
Mhm.
Monty was. Some other guys. He goes, "Wow, this is like walking into a room full of a bunch of traditional bow hunting legends." And I said, "Yeah, no, these guys are all PBS members. You go talk to them.
They're just regular people.
They're just regular guys like you are. Go
Mhm.
talk to them." And now he's hunted. He's buddies because they are just all of us in traditional bow hunting are just regular people. All of us. That's the cool
Now,
part about it.
it's funny, and I've told the story 100 times on the podcast, but I got to say it again. So, Gene and Barry Wenzel, I've known them since I was 18 years old. They came to New Jersey to do a seminar, and it was kind of a combination of the Rambling Rednecks and Whitetails. And I was dating this girl at the time. She's probably like up there with, Miss America level, good looking, beautiful. I mean, to look at her, you're sight for sore eyes type, you know what I mean? And I say, hey, look, I'm not going to take you out Saturday night. I got to go to this college to see the seminar. Oh, she goes, oh, no, you're not going anywhere. You're taking me out. I dumped her for Barry and Gene. I said,
Yeah,
well,
you and I do have a lot in common
yeah, I said, you
because
got
I've
to
lost
go.
some good ones. I had
Yeah.
one that I dated for a long time, and she said, "Do you find it strange that we've been dating for this long and have never been on vacation together?" And I went, "No, what do you want to go hunting for?" She didn't like that at all. Didn't last much longer after that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was unfortunate for her, unfortunate for me, but fortunate for me because I got this. I had first row center right there, man. And I never forget the time Gene and Barry at this seminar, they pulled out a giant pair of Levi's and they put their two heads together,
Hmm.
and it looked like two butt cheeks coming out of the top of the waistband. I was like, man, that's classic. And then I met him after the show, shook hands, and we kept in touch ever since. I still have cassette tapes from Gene and Barry because I would send them my questions on tapes, and they would answer them and send them back to me. My wife goes, "Why are you saving all these cassette tapes for?" And I said, "Read them." He goes, Gene Wenzel, Barry Wenzel, you know, Jay Massey for that matter. Um, I've got all that stuff still. Yeah, that
Yeah,
stuff's
there's
that's
great
historic from
ambassadors. Mhm.
historic information. And then to still run it to them now, and they're in their early 80s, and I'm in my mid pushing late 60s, and I get to hang out with them and their family. I had not seen Ken Wenzel since he was like 10. Yote Robertson, I had not seen him since he was 10. This was the best PBS gathering I've been to.
Oh, it was big. Yeah, it was very, very successful.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blast from the past. And I told my wife, I said, man, I wish I had gotten here on Monday just to spend time with people and just more intimate time, if you
Yes.
will.
Yes.
So I will do that for Missouri for sure. I'm
Me
going to
too.
make it a week long event for sure. I might even, well, actually, I did a podcast from Indianapolis, so I'm going to do a couple of them from Missouri.
Oh, what a great time to get a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm by then I'll have a camera, a professional camera. We could do it, in the room and all that stuff, and get it rocking and rolling. So let's switch organizations. You're very involved with the traditional Bowhunters Hall of Fame.
Yes.
You were at the most recent induction ceremony. I loved it. What's it been like for you?
It's been a really interesting experience. I mean, I'm was asked to be on the founding board, and so we had to come up with the, I guess, policies and procedures to have an organization,
Mhm.
to honor those who have given so much to the pastime of traditional bow hunting. And if it had been a Hall of Fame designed for famous people in the pop sense of the word, like where people are famous for being famous or famous because they killed so much or famous because, I wouldn't have gotten involved with it.
Right.
But it's the brainchild of TJ Conrads and Jim Akinson, and that is not what it's about. But fame is the word our society uses, so that's what it's called.
Mhm.
Um, they've designed it really their goal was to design an organization to honor those who have kept this sport at the forefront, um, who have done so much to promote traditional bow hunting and have made it thrive, made organizations like PBS thrive, organizations like Compton thrive, all the state bow hunting organizations. There will be people who get inducted into the Hall of Fame who people have never heard of that are outside of their area. Um, but they've been very instrumental in their area. There's some guys in Florida that probably belong in there that nobody outside of Florida knows who they are. But man, they were powerful down there, very
Mhm.
influential. So it's been very rewarding because we had to come up with a way where we don't want to do everything. We want this to be driven by state organizations,
Right.
Compton's, PBS. We don't want to do anything but kind of be the guideposts. So a lot of it has been promoting. And there's so many people, like we get questions all the time. Why isn't so and so in? Why? Well, you can't put everybody in all at the same
No,
time.
no, you got
There's
to.
so many
Right.
deserving people. And we had our first induction ceremony at Compton's. It was very successful. I mean, it was really nice. And then the one in Indianapolis was huge. And the coolest thing about that ceremony to me was, almost to a person, the guys that came up on stage when they were accepting their induction said, "I never did it for this. This is not, I don't deserve this. I just, because I love it," which is exactly the correct answer.
Yeah, I just live it.
I mean, I just live it. And I can tell you, there were a couple guys that were a little, like, I don't know if I want to be involved in that. And afterwards they said, we get it. It's honoring the people that give back to traditional bow hunting. Doesn't mean they don't have to be bow hunters, because I'm sure, like I do, some guys who are very much into equipment. They're very much into the hunting lifestyle. They like the stuff. They like to sit by the fire. What they don't ever do is actually go hunting. Um, so they need, people that get inducted need to be experienced, successful bow hunters, but that's not what it's about. So it's been very rewarding so far, and you were in the room. You can tell it's been very well accepted.
Yeah, I was
I mean,
there. I recorded some of it, and it was like, yeah, I actually shed a couple of tears. Yeah, um, with Gene and Barry. Now, I spent a lot of time with Dave Whiting from Australia.
interesting guy.
Oh my God, we had so much fun together. We're best mates. My wife even said I started adopting an Australian accent after hanging out with him for so long. I thought, okay, mate, and she's like, my God. And it's like, look, it's just like when you go back to Wisconsin and you visit your mom and family, you all of a sudden like, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yo,
oh,
okay, let's get some coho, and all of a sudden you turn into a Wisconsinite. And when I go to Jersey, of course, my Jersey comes out to visit my people, but that's so long ago. It's hilarious, but we had so much fun there. Um, yeah, I never heard of Dave until that weekend, and I'm like, dude, and I started talking to him. I was like, you've been involved to an extent where you've rewritten Australia traditional bow hunting by being you. And it's funny because I said to him, I said, so we were talking about relationships, and he goes, how long have you been with your wife? I said, almost 40 years. We just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary yesterday. And that's my second wife. The first wife didn't have anything to do with what I do, yeah, as you see behind me. It didn't want anything to do with any of that. But we're still friends. We share grandkids, so we're friends, which is a good thing. Uh, he says, "Oh yeah, I got to get back to Australia. I have to say goodbye to my girlfriend." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "She's going back to Thailand or China or something like that." I said, "What's up?" She goes, "She can't deal with this." And so I have to say goodbye to her. I was like, wow, that's insane, man. So I know where his love is. It's like
oh, yes,
if
yes, and that,
you could take your bow to a dance hall and dance with it. That's all you need.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that statement.
Yeah,
That
it shocked
it is a
me.
very addicting sport
Hmm.
for sure.
I mean, I have something surrounded by, as you can see, I got books and boxes, and it's just like in those boxes behind me is probably 75 years of archery periodicals, catalogs, information, just nonstop archery history. I mean, antlers over here,
Yeah.
books over here. I got stuff here. I got stuff everywhere. And this is the stuff that I brought from Maryland when I had a 30 by 40 man cave. Now I'm in a 12 by 10 room.
I think we've all got that. My whole cabin looks it's not I don't have a lot of periodicals and stuff, but
Right.
I was dating this one girl and she never made it past the first time she came to my cabin because she looked around and went, I don't think I can eat in this temple of death. So I knew she wasn't for me either. It wasn't going to work out.
Well, speaking of that, Ron Rothar, his wife is nicknamed the I think she's the Mistress of Death. That's her nickname because she's a killing machine, man.
That's awesome. They're very nice people.
Yeah, they are. I had them here. They were the first live podcast I did here where I had human beings in the room, and that was cool as hell. But when you get three people in a 10 by 12 room, it gets a little warm. Yeah.
I'll bet it does.
Yeah, it does. So, so what are your duties as a director?
Really, TJ as president kind of drives everything with Jim Akinson. They set and those of us, the rest of us, kind of just we're throwing ideas out there. We'll get assigned certain things.
Mhm.
Um, I guess the biggest thing I wrote a lot of the Russell Lantier and I wrote a lot of the guidelines to how to induct somebody.
Mhm.
But we have various duties that just get assigned to us. We're working right now on a policies and procedures manual for us,
Yeah,
not so much for how to induct people.
that's good.
I would tell people though, if you know somebody, if you're involved in your state organization, if you know somebody who you think belongs in the Hall of Fame, nominate them.
I do. I'm working
Nominate
on
'em.
that this week. So, do you,
We induct once a year. We'll induct once at Compton and once at PBS on their alternate biennial gatherings.
do you remember the name of a collector, an archery historian named Al Reeder?
I don't.
Okay, because I wrote his bio, if you will, in Traditional Bowhunter magazine years ago. But he still has, because it hasn't gone anywhere, the largest collection of bear archery memorabilia and history on the planet.
Wow.
And I mean, I got pictures of him with Fred Bear. He was amazing. He didn't write a book per se, but he should have. The book of bear archery history got written by a guy named Jorge Coppin or George Coppin. Um, but Al has been the mentor to many of us in the archery history collecting avenues, and he has probably single-handedly cornered that entire market for bear archery to promote it to be what it is today as far as collectors are concerned.
Yeah, and it is a thing.
It is a
That's for
thing.
sure.
It killed my first marriage. I mean, at one time I had over 1,000 bows.
Wow. See, I am much more of a bow hunter than I am an
Mhm.
archer or a collector. I mean, I like to spend my time in the woods.
Yeah,
It's funny right now, I probably own 6 bows, but I'm finally, for the first time in my life, shooting just 1 or 2 of them
yeah.
because that's kind of what I need to do.
What you see behind me, those are the bows I shoot every day. Every
Wow.
day. Oh, the one with the quiver that you see there with the blue and green fletching, that's my hunting bow. So that goes with me everywhere. It's just a great bow. I prefer the bear takedown. It's been my thing for many decades, just because of the ease of putting it together, and it's a fast bow because it takes fast flight, and this is a more modern series. Um, all my classic originals don't see the light of day because they're worth a lot of money.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so those will get sold before I start getting unhealthy, because I don't want my wife to deal with it. My kids don't want anything to do with it. But I've got a room here, and let me show you. There's that.
Very nice.
Got a lot of got a lot of nice heads.
You sure do. Man, that's excellent.
Yeah, where we go? There we go.
Very cool. Boy, that's a nice deer.
And of all the kids, the only one that wants them is my daughter, which I think is really cool because she's the only. Well, my middle son Todd, he bow hunts. Uh, she bow hunts and gun hunts, and she just says, "Yeah, I got a big pole barn, and I would put them all up in there around the bar and stuff." And I'm like, "Well, I'll let you know when I'm starting to feel cruddy. You come get them." You know.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people doing that in the next few years,
I
downsizing and
think I started a in earlier podcast, I started selling off my bows because I did not, I mean, when we moved here to Florida, I sold a bunch. So I moved here with probably maybe 50 bows, and I promised my wife that I was going to start recollecting them back. And I did. And then it got overwhelming. I was like, oh my God. She goes, yeah. She goes, Rich, you're spending way too much money. You're going nuts. I was like, well, I told you I was going to do this. And she goes, yeah, I get it, but you're like psycho. And I'm like, okay. Well, now I started selling them off again, and it's very gratifying not to have that albatross around my neck. And for people that don't know, albatrosses are large, they're huge, and they're heavy. It's a heavy, a seabird that they put it back in the old days. They would put it around your neck until you died, and it died. So it was like a pirate thing. Um, but I've got my favorites that are still hanging around, and a lot of these they're signed and to
oh
me and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, they're
they
specific.
mean something to you. You don't
They
want to get
do.
rid of them,
They have
but
sentimental
you
value.
are, I lost both my parents in the last few years and had to get rid of
Mm,
all their stuff.
I'm
And I have
sorry.
moved. I am well. That's fine. They had great lives. They were in their 90s. So it was a wonderful thing, really. And but I've gone from 2 houses to 1, and let me tell you, throwing a bunch of stuff away is a great feeling. Throwing it away and
Yeah.
giving it away and donating stuff is a wonderful feeling. I'm trying to get less and less and less.
So my old house, I had this giant tank. It was a mineral tank for soft water. So there's sediment inside these tanks, these big, look like torpedoes. And my buddy, I said, hey, John, I need you to help me come over to the house. I need you to help me pull this thing out of the basement, and we'll throw it in the dumpster because I rented a dumpster. and just threw in there. If I hadn't touched it in 15 years, it went in the dumpster. John comes over and we tried to move this thing. Well, the sediment that was in it had solidified. So it was like imagine a torpedo full of cement. This thing had to weigh 600 pounds. So we had to figure out a way to get it up the stairs from the basement and out the back door. And we would roll it down, on the sidewalk. We had ropes, we had pulleys. We got it done. And we hooked a come along to the main 6x6 in the deck, the backyard deck, and we just cranked it and cranked it and cranked it. He stayed behind it so it didn't slip off, and I just cranked it until it came
Oh,
up and out of the basement.
that could have gone wrong in so many ways.
Oh yeah, it could have crushed him because he's only like
Yes.
5'6", 150 pounds soaking wet. Uh,
Oof.
I did the muscle work, but I was in shape then. So yeah, we got it done. It was funny, but anyway. So what other organizations are you involved with? Are you involved with Compton's?
Oh yeah, I've been a Compton's life member. Have been a member of Compton since they were very first formed. I mean, if it's
Okay.
going to promote traditional bow hunting, I'm for it. And I have been involved with traditional bow hunters of Georgia forever, really since the beginning, and have served as their editor and vice president and president. And I'm not as involved with them as I used to be, just because I'm involved with other stuff. But they have done the guys that run the traditional boners of Georgia have done a great job of keeping it focused on hunting too,
Yeah.
which is really nice. Those are
I,
the main ones.
I'm my sights are focused on Georgia as far as hunting is concerned. We both have a mutual friend, John Powell.
Oh yeah.
John says hello. I spoke to him the other day, and we were talking about some stuff. And he's very involved with his son. Well, now his son does travel baseball. So I said, "Well, John, we won't see you for a
No,
couple of years
no,
until
but
it."
I'll tell you, I've lived in Florida twice, and I drove all the way up here to hunt every weekend.
Yep.
I mean, Florida's got some great hunting in it, but it's extremely expensive, and a lot of it's
Mhm.
over feeders, and I just would prefer not to do that. I mean, I don't have a
Yeah.
problem if somebody else does. I'd rather go figure something out.
Yeah. I'm three. I live 3 hours from Savannah.
Oh, you're not far.
No,
Gosh,
that's
yeah,
nothing.
no, you can find someplace in South Georgia, and you can do some damage down there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm going to look forward to it. John's invited me up. You've even mentioned coming on up, which I greatly appreciate. I'm going to look into it because I have been traveling back and forth to the north to hunt, which I will continue to do until I can't, um, only because my heart is there. Uh, but I'm really digging the southern lifestyle. It took me a couple of years to get used to it. Now I know what it's all about. Now I understand it. I grasp it. I embrace it. Um, I'm your southern. I'm the redneck Puerto Rican. So that's what I'm all about now.
Well, I've been hunting in Illinois for a couple of years, and I'll tell you
Mm.
that is a blast. But
Oh yeah.
I still love hunting down here. I mean, I just for quantity of hunting, you couldn't live in a better place. We can hunt something every day because we've got hogs.
Yeah.
So
Now when I shot a hog a couple of years ago here, man,
what's a
that thing
hog? What's a hog?
a
Oh, a
hag
hog.
a hog. Yeah, and this thing was covered in mites. Is that normal or is that
It's not.
bad? Is that an
No,
unhealthy animal?
I don't know how to answer that. I've never shot one covered in mice. I mean, they've got ticks on them
No, I
and
mean, I
other stuff,
literally,
but
the thing's
I've never
laying
seen
there
one
and
covered
I'm
in mice.
gutting it and I'm looking and the hair's moving. I'm like, what the hell is all that?
Ooh,
And there's like a party going on the skin
that's
and there's all
interesting.
these bugs moving around. I'm like, oh, this ain't good. So whatever, we quartered it up and it was probably the best meat I ever ate. But I lost most of it to Hurricane Ian.
No, no.
I had not bought a
Freezer went
gener.
out.
Yeah, I didn't buy a generator just yet. And I bought one a week after, and I got it dirt cheap. It was $500 for a Generac with only 20 hours on it.
Oh, that's great.
Because the guy selling it was moving like north or something like that. I said, dude, I'm on it. $500. Here you go.
Yeah, down there you need one, and actually I need one here too because I mean that hurricane hit me, so
Yeah, that was a nasty one.
that was.
Yeah, back to back, Hurricane Ian and then Milton. It was really rain events for us, so our streets were flooded. But I got a big truck, so I just drive around. I just pipe all my exhaust up and just drive around and act like a fool.
Well, it pretty much shattered the place I hunt in South Georgia. That place will never be the same. I
Oh
mean,
man.
it used to be big, beautiful hardwoods that you could walk through at your leisure, and now you have to climb and pick your way through it, and it's not particularly relaxing. But the hogs love it. I mean, there's
Oh
probably
yeah.
more hogs there now because it's so nasty, but and it won't be the same in my lifetime. I
Right.
mean, that hurricane did a lot of damage.
So I remember back in the 80s, PBS was hot and heavy in the crossbow thing. Are they still involved in all that?
We're still very anti crossbow in bow season, but I'll just give you my opinion because I'm not on council, but that fight's
Sure.
pretty much been lost. I mean,
Yeah.
here in Georgia, they passed. We didn't even know it was coming. We never had a chance to fight it because powerful people wanted it. Same way they got baiting in. Some powerful guys wanted it, and every biologist was against baiting, and they just put it in. But we are still against it. I would caution people not to go too hot and heavy against it when you're talking to somebody that shoots one. And I'm going to tell you a story about Blackbeard Island. A couple years ago, I'm standing at Blackbeard Island, and I'm standing next to a kid watching a PBS member clean a huge hog that he shot. And the guy goes, "Man, he killed that hog with a longbow." And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "I brought a longbow to this hunt." I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, I brought a crossbow and a longbow." And I went, "Really?" And he said, "Yeah." And he goes, "You know what?" I said, "What?" He goes, "Traditional guys aren't very nice." I said, "What do you mean not very nice?" He goes, "I pull this crossbow out and they make fun of me and they hammer me because I don't, they're just not very friendly." And so this kid was 19 years old. Crossbows
Yeah.
have been legal since he was
In diapers.
in diapers. So
That's
he
all he's
doesn't know
known.
the whole story. So I sat and talked with him for 10 minutes and told him the whole history and why. I apologized. I said, "Look, they shouldn't attack you for that. You don't know any better. You've got a longbow with you." By the time the conversation was over, he just looked at me and said, "I'm never shooting my crossbow again." And I went, "That a boy." And
Yeah.
the moral of that story is you don't, you get more flies with sugar. I mean, you
Exactly.
don't poking people in the eye and
Well,
poking them in the
that's a
chest
typical
doesn't do
salesman's comment. I
anything.
mean, I have to sell my job, and so you get more flies with honey.
That's right. I want people to come this way because there's so much more satisfaction in it.
Yeah.
It's so much more fun. I mean, learning to be a woodsman is fun. I hate to think how many guys go out now. They go deer hunting for the first time. Guy takes them in the field, puts them on a stand over a feeder. They shoot a deer. They shoot another deer the next time. They go, "Pfft, that was easy. I'm going to go back and play video games."
Yeah. No.
No, it's not that easy.
No.
But you got to get around people, but they don't know because if they go to their local archery shop, they don't see anything like that stuff over there behind you. Nothing.
No.
So we have to expose them to that in a very positive way. That's a big deal because I'm convinced that there's a huge amount of people that they're looking, they're open, they just don't know they're looking yet.
Right.
We have to reach those people. And you reach them one on one, or you and then you have to convince them, you actually can keep your freezer full with these things. You
Yeah.
can. It's not that hard. It just takes a little dedication.
That's
If I
it.
can do it, anybody can do it.
You got to put the time in
That's right.
with
And
any
it's so
job. With
and
any
it
job.
yes, and it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying to, and you find that special tree. It's hot right now. You climb up, you kill something. That feels great.
Yeah, it does. I haven't killed a big buck in a long time. Well, actually, since 2017. But I've killed a couple of bucks and some does since then. But I don't care. I mean, if it's a big buck, great, and we happen to be there. But you know something? Antlers don't taste good.
Nope.
So give me a nice fat mature doe. And let me tell you what, hunters, bow hunters, that is perhaps the hardest thing to harvest is a smart mature doe because she's got your number before you even know it. That's a
Yeah,
very difficult animal to
a
kill.
big doe that has raised babies for 3 or 4 years,
Oh
and
no.
especially in Florida or Georgia, where pretty much every day is doe day,
Hmm.
they are sharp.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not a trophy hunter. Everything big I've ever killed has been by
Yeah.
accident. Now I'm not
Same
afraid to
here.
admit it.
Same here. Same here. I'm not looking for them. They're just there.
Yep.
And and I hunt specifically during the pre-rut because that's when I will see what is in the woods chasing what. Um, Peak rut, nah, I don't have time for that because there's nothing going on and everything's on lockdown. I like the pre-rut, right when it's Halloween and The bucks are going crazy. And I could sit there and next thing you know, I'm looking at a buck that probably lived 2 miles away. And he's on my doe population. But he's going to compete with, Mr. Big, the other one that I've been seeing. And, if you've ever seen a buck fight in the woods, in the wild, that's a rare event, by the way, to witness that because
Yes.
you have to have the right conditions, like 2 to 1, you know, one buck for every two does to create that situation. That's very rare. You might find that like Iowa, Wisconsin in some spots, and I hunt Wisconsin. I hunt in the Racine area, and there's a lot of activity going on there, but you don't see a lot of big bucks. But when you do see a buck, it's big.
It's big.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of spikes. I remember one time hunting in Wisconsin. I went and checked out this public land, and it was when they had a lot of CWD or CDW, whatever it's called, chronic wasting disease,
Yeah.
CWD. So you had to shoot two does before you got your buck tag. So I showed up at this public land with my recurve bow, and I'm in the woods. I passed up. I saw a 12 pointer, 10 pointer, 8 pointer, no does. I could have shot any one of those bucks, but I couldn't do it. So I got discouraged and I come out for lunch, and there's a DNR cop waiting in the parking lot. And he looks like he's going to see your license and all that. And he says, "Oh my God, you're from Maryland." I said, "Yeah, my family lives here, but I'm here trying my hand at hunting." And he shook my hand and thanked me for my contribution to this state license.
Good for him.
I thought that was fantastic.
That is
And we
fantastic.
actually sat and had coffee and stuff, and we talked about life. And you know, I'm a talker, as you know. Um, my wife says I could talk to the dead, but that's me. Um, I love people. I mean, there are people that are good and there's people that are bad, and we just got to learn
Yes.
to live with everybody.
Well, and I've found in life that you are a lot better off if you can learn to like most everybody.
I like everybody.
I mean, you can make that choice because it's easier that way rather than choosing to do the opposite, which I can pretty much I can get along with pretty much anybody.
There was a guy the other day. I went to go pick up some carry out, and I ran into this guy that I know, and he goes, "How did we become friends?" I said, "We're friends because you wear the best damn cologne I've ever smelled in my life." And he thought that was hilarious. He goes, "All right." He goes, "So when are we going to do this art?" He wants me to teach him how to shoot. So he's coming over to the house. I'm going to teach him traditional archery because he's
That's
always
how it
shot
starts.
compounds. I said, "No, take that compound and throw it in the garbage. I'm going to show you how it's fun, the fun way to shoot." He goes, "Really?" I said, "I got a Kevlar net in the backyard, so don't be afraid to miss because the arrow will get caught. We'll be good." He's
Yeah.
going to be 82, 80, so 81.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And now
Wouldn't
he
that
wants
be
to learn
awesome if he
traditional
switched
archery.
and killed something? That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. But he's such a cool dude. I mean, we're both guitarists. That's how the conversation started. I met him. We started talking about guitars and whatnot. And, you know, this is the rabbit holes I'm talking about. I go off in tangents, and that's what it is.
That's okay. That's why people love you.
So the TBOF, what are some of the projects or goals for them involved with the PBS moving forward? Are you still going to do a Compton's thing next year and then
Oh
PBS?
yes, yes. We
Okay,
want to complement those organizations. I mean, what we would like to do is make them stronger. They can
hmm
make us stronger. I mean, it's all the
absolutely.
same community. I mean, Compton and PBS share so many members, and at least the plan right now is, we'll induct once a year at the biennial gathering of PBS, and then
Right.
the next year Compton has their gathering, which actually will be in Springfield next year, I think too. We'll induct
Oh
there,
wow.
which is really cool because being retired, I never had time to go to a lot of that stuff. I mean, I had to pick and choose, but
Right.
now I can go to all of them, which is nice because you get to see people that are just that you love.
Yeah. So speaking of that, we've driven to the last couple, and we flew this time to Indy. We spent a day and a half at the airport because of the
Oh, getting
weather.
home. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
because
getting home is
Florida got hit with a bunch of storms, so everything was shut down. So I was like, man, I was like, we only have enough money left to do this and this and this. Luckily, we found not an Econo Lodge. Actually, it was a Hyatt, which is not cheap. And they said, look, we're going to honor your, you guys bow hunting thing, 150 bucks for the night. Oh, I'll take it. And man, it was the best hotel. Told my wife, I said, I want to stay here for a week, man. This thing's nice. It was perfect. But
Yeah, flying can be a challenge, that's for
yeah,
sure. I've
it
had a few
is.
nightmares that made me never want to fly again, but I always
Yeah.
do.
I fly a lot now since I moved here. And I vowed that to my family. I said, look, I'm gonna fly a lot because I miss my peeps. I miss my friends, I miss my family. You know, I'm here in Florida. It's funny, I'm here in Florida. Nobody's come to visit me. Except
That might say something about you there, Rich. You need to
Well,
be
no,
careful.
actually, I had a bow collector buddy of mine who I've been dealing with for 25 years. All of a sudden, he's going on a cruise. Hey, can I come visit? Like, hell yeah. Next thing you know, we're going on cruises with this guy. Never met him until he came here.
Well,
But, yeah,
what you may, I've got a lot of friends in Florida, and they get during the winter time, as your friends retire, you're going to get a
mhm.
lot of visitors in the
Yeah,
winter
yeah,
time.
yeah. That's fine. Yeah. I love it, man, because I entertain like nobody entertains, man. I cook chicken wings from scratch. And that's the thing, chicken wings and beer. And I can make some chicken wings. Let me tell you what.
I bet.
I love to cook. I would consider myself a crap house chef.
I might have to get you up to camp because I don't like. Well, actually, I'm an okay cook, but
Oh, I'll cook for anybody. I'll cook for 50 people. Don't matter to me. Just get me the ingredients and we got it done, baby.
that
You know.
sounds good.
So let's go bow hunting.
All right.
What are some of your most memorable adventures?
Oh gosh, I've had a lot. It's
You
funny. A lot
have.
of my most memorable ones have been close to home.
That's fine.
Probably the first big critter I ever killed by accident was hunting at McKay Lake with a bunch of a bunch of guys from Traditional Bowhunter magazine, and that was memorable because I killed this monster caribou. And I mean, saw it 2 miles away, and there were not a lot of caribou around at that time, and my feet hurt so bad I had pulled my Achilles tendons,
Ooh.
and there was this little dugout at the top of this ridge that I'm guessing could have been there since the Inuits had they might have done it. And I thought, I'm getting in that hole and I'm not moving. And if that thing comes by here from 2 miles away, I'll shoot it. And if it doesn't, I won't. And it did. It was just amazing. It was one of those. Every successful traditional bow hunter has had these things where when they happen, you sit there and you can't believe it happened. You just can't believe it, and you're so thankful. I mean, you look up and go, "Thank you, God. I just don't know what I did to deserve this." That was one. Killed an elk a few years ago after always wanted to call in. I'd killed elk before. I'd never called in a bull and killed it by myself. Really a very similar situation. It was the last day. My back was killing me. I got elk bugling all around me, and I said, "I'm not chasing them today." They crossed this bridge right here, this ridge, and if I sit here long enough, one's going to come by. And they're bugling and bugling, and I'm going, a real elk hunter would go chase those, but I just can't. And sure enough, about beautiful still morning, and I'm cow calling, and I hear a cow call, and I'm buried in this little bitty fir tree, and two cows come walking by about 8 yards away. And boy, I'm telling you, there's a part of me wanted to shoot one of those. And then I hear this little bugle behind them, and that thing walks up right out in front of me. And I was so overcome after shooting that thing. I heard him fall. I didn't watch him fall, but I heard him fall. And then I sat there for probably 45 minutes because I didn't want it to end. I just was overwhelmed. And the thing that got to me the most is I wanted that so bad, or so badly would be, and yet knowing that elk was dead about 60 yards away laying there, all I could think about was I'm the same dumb old redneck from Georgia I was before I shot that elk. Nothing's changed except I'm very, very happy and appreciative that it happened. And I've just had that a lot. I've been very fortunate. Every big buck I've ever killed has pretty much been by accident. I'm a big doe hunter, but I know
Mm.
if I hunt big does, that eventually I'll get a shot at a big buck. And I
Yep.
do, I mean, I do know how to try to kill a big buck. And I'm hunting with a lot of guys who do target big bucks. So I don't shoot small bucks. If I let the little ones walk just because if I can shoot a little buck or a doe, I'll shoot a doe. But gosh, I've had so many memorable hunts. Went to New Zealand with Jim Akinson and had the pleasure of watching him shoot a tar from 40. I was standing right behind him. Made a phenomenal shot on a very difficult critter, a free range tar way
Yeah.
up in the mountains, and he just drilled it.
I mean, I'm
Beautiful.
talking about elevations are like
Oh,
insane. That's like
it was
you need an oxygen tank.
yes, it was just so cool. And I liked hunting behind him because he walks nice and slow. I was hunting with a New Zealander the day before, and I couldn't keep up with him. He just glided up the mountains, and I'm like, I can't do that. And it's just we just went with friends. I mean, a couple of those guys that we hunted with there probably belong in the Hall of Fame because they do the same thing in New Zealand that um, that a lot of the guys that got inducted do here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I mean, I'm very blessed with having gotten to hunt a lot, and but those are probably my big ones. I did kill a really big buck a couple of years ago. That was another comical story because if I hadn't missed a buck right before that, I would have been tagged out. So, I mean, I was set up on a ridge and a little buck came by and I had been passing up stuff and it was getting late in the year and I was a little farther from him than I thought and I shot right under him. And I thought, well, it was a good arrow at least. And that's my goal, shoot a good arrow. Went right under his heart.
Mhm.
And I grunted, and about 10 minutes later, this monster buck comes walking down the same trail, and I didn't shoot too low that time.
Mhm.
And it's the biggest deer I'll ever kill in Georgia. I don't know I've never scored anything because I don't really care
Yeah,
about
I
that.
don't score mine either. I'm
But
not into that.
I'll never kill another deer this big. It was a pretty buck, and it was just lucky, just very lucky.
So I sent a couple of instant messages to mutual friends telling them that you were coming on the podcast. So
Uh-oh.
I've got a question from the peanut gallery.
Okay.
Word on the street is you impaled yourself by antlers while dragging out a deer. Is this true? And if so, tell us about it.
Yeah, I can sit here and tell you that I hurt right now from that. This
Oh,
was the first week of October. I killed a nice 10 point, and I'm not a I'm very patient with people, but I'm impatient when I'm doing things. And it was getting dark, and I was trying to take a picture. And he died in a place with a bunch of vines. And I'm trying to set my phone up to take a picture, and I stepped backwards and tripped on a vine and impaled myself on his antler. I'm so fired up that I didn't really think about it.
oh
Um,
no.
I did what I usually do. I found somebody much younger than I am to help me drag the deer out because this was a big deer, big bodied deer. And he looked at me and went, "Man, you got blood running all down your leg." And I did. It ripped a big hole in my pants, went a pretty good ways into my leg, barely missed the femoral artery. And
You're lucky to get affected.
I was smart enough to go home and squirt a bunch of iodine and hydrogen peroxide on it, and it didn't get infected. And I forgot about it. And exactly to the day, 2 months later, in early December, I'm hunting down in South Georgia at the Paradise, and I took a step, and something tore loose from where that antler went in. And all of a sudden, I felt like I tore a hamstring. Went back to camp and went to bed, woke up the next morning, and my right leg is 50% bigger than my left leg, and I'm black and blue from my ankle to my waist. So I went to
Eee.
the ER. Guy told me I had a torn hamstring, which I don't. But I went through all sorts of MRIs. I was on crutches for 5 weeks. And long story short, because it is a long story, I have a massive hematoma in my right thigh. And I had 2 Coke bottles full of blood sucked out of
Hmm.
there. And so I can walk now, but it hurts. And what was funny is the kid that was dragging my deer out for me. I looked at him and said, "Man, if I die on the way back to the truck, I want you to put me up against a tree and put my recurve across and take my picture with this sign that says this recurve killed the buck that killed me." And he looked at me with his mouth open because he'd never seen Jeremiah Johnson. So he'd never saw the greatest movie of all time
Yeah,
about him
yeah, yeah,
killing
yeah.
this rifle killed the bar that killed me. But it didn't kill me, but it sure caused me a lot of pain. And I missed 2 months worth of hunting over it. So
Hmm.
people need to be careful, more careful than I am. And I'm
Yep.
not careful.
I hunted one time with a broken foot, and I put I had my foot brace, and then I covered it. I put on a giant galosh. I bought like a size 20 galosh, rubber galosh over that, and that's what I hobbled in the woods. I got in my tree and I killed one of my biggest bucks to
Did you
date.
really?
Yes,
That's
I
cool.
did. So dragging it out, of course, there's holes, like where tree stumps once existed, and my freaking foot went right down into one of those up to my crotch. So I've got this dead buck over here, I got a broken foot, and that broken foot and leg are in this hole. So getting out of there in your 50s, no, it's probably in my early 60s. Not very easy, but I got it done, bro. It took
I'm
me
telling you,
it took me 3 hours to move that buck, maybe 400 yards,
man,
but
I'll
I
tell
got
you,
it done. That's
the
determination.
urge to go is strong, isn't it?
Yep. It's insane. My buddy looked at me and goes, "Man, you're crazy." He goes, "Dude, you got to do what you got to do." I mean, it's like I'm not leaving this thing in the woods. You
Yes, I
know?
mean you are a lot like him because I have a bad habit of killing stuff in very remote places for the southeast,
Hmm.
just real nasty places. Because my attitude's always been kill it and then figure out how to get it out.
Right.
I don't sit there and go, nah, it's too far to
Yeah.
kill that hog. I'm like, nope, kill it. We'll
Nope.
figure out how to get it out.
There's only one time that I did not shoot a doe, and this was like a 200-pound doe, and they came out. All the does came out at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I knew I had to be home by a certain time because the Packers were in the playoffs. I'm a huge Green Bay Packer fan, and it was muzzleloader season, and they're all standing there broadside, like 25 yards, and this one matriarch doe standing there, and my buddy's glassing. I could see him with the glasses, and he's giving me the finger. He's like, "Will you shoot this thing so we can get out?" I didn't shoot it because I didn't want to mess with it. I had to get home to see that Packer game. And to
I
this
believe that.
day,
I've been to Lambeau a couple times in a box in the last few years
yeah,
because the company I rep is based in Wisconsin and has a box. So I can y'all are crazy.
yeah.
Really
So
are.
he
Y'all are
still
nuts.
brings it up to this day. He goes, I cannot believe in the 35 years that we've been hunting together, I have never not seen you shoot anything. And you wasted that moment on a Packer game? I'm like, yeah, dude, that's what Packer fans do. So, that'll go to the grave with me. Yeah, the fact that he still rubs it in, after 35 years, I love it. It's just great. It's
Oh,
just a
it
good
is
time.
great. It is great.
So let's talk about hogs. You love them. You love hunting them. What makes them so, I guess, awesome to chase?
Well, because they're so chaseable. I mean, that it's really they're the perfect animal to sneak up on with a traditional bow.
Hmm.
And there's so many good things about hunting hogs spot and stalk. You get a lot of exercise, you walk around. Usually you don't get one. I mean, I just took a couple of buddies from Alaska, Ben Penny and his son
Hmm.
Brooks, and I'm telling you, those guys can hunt. Brooks is 15 years old. He had stalk after stalk after stalk. He never did anything wrong. His instincts were great. Got smelled every time. We were just in one of, and if you live in Florida, when you have no wind, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Which could never really get in the game. He got his finger on the string, his bow's tight twice. And then on the last evening, in the last 5 minutes, both of them killed hogs. I mean,
Mm.
it was so sweet. Brooks killed his first animal ever, 5 yard blood trail, shot it right through the heart. It's just a beautiful thing. But where else can you go in the springtime when nothing else is like from Alaska, there's nothing open where he can
No.
get stalk after stalk after stalk.
Yeah.
And I hunt them in the summer. I hunt them all year long. And I do pass up a lot and I don't shoot a lot. I have gotten to where I enjoy taking other people. I like to
Hmm.
watch other people, especially if they've never killed a hog. It's
Sure.
really fun to watch people sneak up. And I think I was more excited. I know I wasn't more excited than Brooks, but I was pretty excited.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's
So
awesome.
hogs are so much fun.
So what's your go-to setup? Let's talk about it. Bow, arrow, broadhead. What's
My
your
go-to setup, like I said before, I'm much more into hunting than I'm into archery. But I've been shooting the same bow for 40 years. It was originally an Archery Traditions Patriot, which is Dan Quillian's was his takedown recurve. It was made by Owen Jeffrey.
Mhm.
I lived in Columbia for a couple of years and got to know Owen and hunted with him. And he made me a longbow that's 66 inches long. Those are my two main bows. They're both Jeffries, and all my limbs are now they're Jeffrey limbs because
Yeah, I knew Owen. Owen was a good
yeah,
dude.
Owen's a great guy. What a very eccentric, interesting, really good
Is
guy.
he
And his
still
son
with
Tom,
us?
no, he passed away a few years ago.
Okay.
His son Tom still runs the archery shop, still makes bows,
Okay.
makes a great bow for the money. My Jeffrey's recurve is not fast. It's not fancy. but it's quiet and
Mhm.
it's forgiving. And I can say the same for the longbow. It's whisper quiet.
Yeah.
Shot a lot of other bows, but that they just, if I want to kill something, those are the bows I go to.
Yeah.
Norm Johnson made me a beautiful bow, and I use it quite a bit too. Killed that big deer with it. It's really too pretty for me. It's just I don't. It's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Norm makes
oh,
incredible bows.
yep.
I
I'm
mean,
heading up.
I've got the guys coming on. Um, Not Norm, but shoot.
Oh yeah, I'm drawing a blank on there.
Yeah, the archery company
Yeah,
and
Blacktail, the
Blacktail.
Blacktail
Yeah, yeah,
guys.
yeah. Yeah, I got to get there. They've decided they want to come on.
Good
Believe it or
guy.
not, Barry Smith. I mean, Barry Wenzel. He pulls me aside. He goes, I didn't know that was you doing the podcast. Oh, I'll definitely do it. I was like, you turned me down, dude. I was like, what do I have, the Black Plague? You know, it's like, yeah, it's like, he's like, man, I didn't know. My daughter told me that was you. And I was like, okay. So what funny is because I spent time I was at the bar having a couple of beers, and Laurel Wenzel comes up and
She was
says,
a trip.
"Oh my God.
She is a handful. I'm telling you, I really liked her.
Oh, she's so much fun." So she sits down next to me and starts talking to me. So I introduced my wife to her, and I said, "This is Barry Wenzel's daughter." And she's like, "Okay, I'm going to the room. You guys have a good night." So she was my date that night. And we talked and we carried on and we had so much fun, just laughing.
Yes.
It was just so much
You
fun.
can tell that she is Barry's daughter.
Oh yeah, the sense of humor.
She's a chip off the old block.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But the apple did not fall far from the tree, for sure.
Now, let me circle back to PBS, man. I'll give you a good example. Next week, I am flying up to go chase turkeys with Norm Johnson.
Okay.
I would never know. I would never have known Norm Johnson if it weren't for PBS. I
Hmm.
mean, that's what it's all about. And you know, PBS does a lot of other stuff. Compton's the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, any of these organizations, you cannot get that stuff from the internet.
No.
You because you don't know what you're getting. If I have not met somebody in person, I am likely not going to hunt with them
Right.
because I've been through that. And you know, I want to, and I do donate hunts, and I will take whoever, but I donate them to organizations that I know the guys are going to be good guys. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. But you know, and I just also need to say this that I'm going up to try to teach Norm how to hunt because he's struggling a bit.
Yeah.
I got to get my shot at Norm in there.
Yeah, I got you. That's all good. It's all good. So if you take it, well, this comes again from the peanut gallery. Sean Blakely. Uh, did I say that? Um, you've taken a couple of super nice bucks here recently. Can you tell us about a favorite?
Well, I already told you about the one. That's my biggest one, and I would say the my favorite one is usually the last one.
Mhm.
But I've had, yeah, I shot one a few years ago that was, I guess it was one of my favorites. It wasn't a huge deer; it was a nice deer, um, but it was so totally unexpected. I was trying to get out of town. I was in a hurry. I shouldn't have been hunting. I really should not have been hunting. And I told all my hunting buddies that I'm not shooting anything but a decent deer. And I grunted one in. He came up behind me, stopped, facing my tree. I mean, he sounded like his head was against my tree
Oh,
behind
they
me.
always come behind you.
I mean,
Yeah.
he just stood there. And then I heard him turn and walk away. And I peeked around the tree, and he had turned. He was walking straight away, but he was starting to come around. And when he got to three quarters, I shot. I don't even remember shooting. And I saw my arrow hit, and I thought that looks pretty good.
Mhm.
Shooting a very lightweight bow because I had cut my thumb halfway off recently, so I was just kind of getting back. And but I found no blood. I mean, none. And that business side of me, because I needed to leave town, I was supposed to pick management up 7 hours away early the next morning, and wanted to just go, yeah, I didn't see what I saw, but I knew I saw what I saw. I've been doing it long enough to know I saw what I saw. And I have a German wire haired pointer. I thought, I'm going to give her one shot at this. And I did. And we went all over the place. We're walking in circles. She's a wind trailer. She's not a stick your nose to the ground.
Mhm.
And I mean, all of a sudden we walked up on what looked like the scene of an axe murder. I mean, there was a blood trail 6 inches wide and it went 20 yards to this dead buck. And I still can't explain why it never bled. Which that happens in bow hunting,
Yeah.
but it was just so unexpected that it was, again, every successful bow hunter's been there. I walked around with a smile on my face the next couple of days, just 'cause it was just so unbelievable to me the way it all happened.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But
So what,
everything I shoot is special. I just, I
these are
think you should
memories,
be proud of
man.
everything you shoot.
Yeah. They're memories. I mean, even my misses are memorable.
Yes. And I always give thanks when I shoot something because I'm always amazed by it, actually.
So what do you got planned for the rest of 26 into 27? Any special adventures?
Well, I'm heading up with Norm next week, and we're such good friends. That'll be fun, whether the turkeys cooperate or not. I'm going elk hunting in Utah with some PBS guys on a cow hunt, which has been very good for me, and I enjoy taking other people up there. Don't know what else I'm going to do this fall. I bought that Mexico hunt at PBS, so I'm
Oh
going to go
yeah.
to Mexico with those
Cool.
guys. They seem like super nice
They
guys. I haven't
are.
got the dates yet.
Dude, it's the most. I mean, the ranch owners invited my wife and I to go hang out with him and his wife just on a regular vacation. It's like once you go there, you are family.
Well, everybody goes back. I know a bunch of Ben Penny.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes. I have bunches of friends, and they all speak so highly of that place.
Yeah.
And they cater to traditional guys, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'll go there, and then I'm probably gonna. I've never killed a moose. I've never really tried to kill a moose much, but I'm gonna go. I may go next year to Ontario in 2027. But I'm retired also, so I'm always open to last minute hunts.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe if I can find the right last minute hunt in September, I might go on something else.
That sounds great. That sounds great. The Mexico guys, I wanted to go back next year, but I promised my wife a trip to Europe. So,
What are you going to hunt in Europe?
um, beer, beers, German beers, and Prague and whatever.
Yeah. Marital
Uh,
bliss. Marital bliss
yeah,
is what you're hunting.
yeah, pretty much. I've been basically I've been selfish for the last couple of years, so I think I'll take care of her next year, and then I'll be forgiven, and I can bow hunt for the next 10 years without any issues.
Good man.
Yeah,
Got to take care of your wife.
that's right, brother. That's right. So an important question. This is actually a good one. If you were to take yourself back in time, where would it be and why?
I think if I don't spend a lot of time looking backwards, but if I could go back in time, I was very fortunate because I started doing trips of a lifetime when I was 23.
Hmm.
I went to Alaska, had no idea what I was doing. Me and some other guys we went up there, we rented a boat and took it to Susan Butcher's Iditarod camp, went 80 miles up a river, and basically had a camping trip because we had absolutely no idea. We had no business being up there. But I decided right then I was going to do a trip of a lifetime every year. I wish that I had not spent so much time chasing elk, but I love to elk hunt, and I had spent more time chasing other stuff. I will tell you a funny story about that first trip to Alaska, though, because I was sitting in the kitchen with my mom because I was staying at her house before the flight out, and she goes, "Well, how do we get in touch with you when you're up there?" And I went, "Mom, you can't." I said, "We're going to be in the middle of nowhere." This is before any kind of communication.
Hmm.
And she said, "Well, what happens if we die while you're gone?" And I went, "Well, I'm not God. I can't bring you back to death. You'll still be dead when I get home." And she didn't like that very much. And then but she
No.
thought for a minute. And she looked at me and she goes, "Well, what if we're not dead yet, but we're real hurt? We're very badly hurt, and you can get back in time to say goodbye." And I looked at her and went, "Goodbye."
Yeah.
Didn't like that
Ah.
much either.
Uh,
But it is kind of funny that the way this sport gets you, and you do some interesting things. It has cost me a lot of relationships with women
there
that
was
made.
one time I went on a trip to the Adirondacks where I was going to be sleeping in the bush with my buddy at negative 25 plus degrees in a
Ouch.
yeah. And so I made a living will and I actually had it notarized the whole 9 yards, and I did fall in through. I did fall through into a frozen pond, chasing a whitetail buck in that environment, and I had 3 miles to jog. I had double timed it back to camp in wool, but I was wearing wool, so the insulation factors of wool
Still,
saved me.
yeah.
But still, I was starting to feel a little weird, and I got into camp, just stripped off, buck ass naked, and then changed my clothes and got myself reacclimated. But I was like, wow. And I was in my 50s. And I was like, man, I'm never doing this again. And
Oh, I think every hunter's got a few of those stories. I did something similar. I had an old German wire hair pointer that I lost one
hmm,
night. She was 15 years old. I'm trying to make this a short story, but it was about 55 degrees, but dropping fast, windy winter.
sure.
And there's a slough at the Paradise, and I just couldn't find. I went looking for her and couldn't find her, and I kept hearing some like bloop 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 bloop, and I shone my flashlight out, and I saw that she had made it most of the way across this slough, about 50 yards. All I could see was her nose. She was getting ready to drown, and luckily the thing's full of alligators, but it was cold enough to keep that. But I didn't think a thing about it. I just jumped in,
Hmm.
swam over there, got her. Couldn't I could go underwater, touch the bottom, jump, and push her. I push her to the other side. Well, now, like you said, I've got a 3/4 of a mile walk around either end of the slough with a 65-pound dog that's so weak it can't stand up. Same thing. I've never been so cold in my life. And let me tell you, after your experience, did you lay in bed that night going, "Boy, I'm stupid for
Yeah,
chasing that
for the
deer out
most
on the
part.
lake"? I
Yeah.
laid in bed all night thinking all the ways I could have died trying to save a 15-year-old dog with bad hips.
So that
But I
night,
do it. But I do it again tomorrow.
yeah, same here. So that night, my buddy John and I, we finally got the fire stoked and it was cranking, everything's good. But we start hearing this like weird noise on the side of the tent. And it was a tent that he built from hand, a canvas tent. We used PVC piping for the ribs and everything, for the frame. And we stuck our head out of the cabin. We see all these cars taking off, coming flying past us. It's ice rain with snow. And we were like, oh, dude, we got to get out of here. So we started breaking down camp at 3 in the morning. It took us about 2 hours. Finally, lights coming up. We throw everything in the truck and we're flying down the road. And he only has chains for the rear tires. And we're sliding everywhere. I'm like, oh, going over the side. I'm looking down. There's a ravine. And my buddy John doesn't curse ever, ever. Man, I heard stuff come out of his mouth. I thought it was in the movie The Exorcist. Boots are flying forward, hitting me in the head, hitting him in the head. He's like, "Ah." We finally get to the end of the road, and there's the DNR and the state police waiting for us. And they go, you are the last campers to make it out of here. Another hour, you guys would have been dead. I'm like,
Ooh.
thanks. So it's like 8 in the morning. We drive into town and we said, let's get some breakfast. The first thing we both did is get double shots of Jack Daniels. Bam, bam. 8 eggs, bacon, and got back on the road and went home. I was like, oh my God, that was insane.
It's interesting the way men are. Probably all of us, even if you're not a bow hunter,
Right.
can think of those 3 or 4 times in your life where if one little thing had gone differently, you'd be the guy everybody's laughing about that killed himself in some really stupid and creative way.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
know I have.
I've been bitten in the ass by a black bear. I was bow hunting in Maine, with a guide. And he goes, all right, we're going to come pick you up at 10 o'clock at night. Okay, cool. 9:30, I'm leaving. I didn't know there was a bear guarding the bait in the woods. Thought I was a problem. Came and just attacked me, bit me in the butt. Luckily, my wallet was in my back pocket. So only one canine went through my butt cheek. And I had to get tetanus shots, but I'm good. I
That's
was like,
great.
yeah.
You
It
got
licked
that was
it,
worth the story.
it bit me and then realized, ooh, this is weird, and let go. It just shot me across the into the into the road there. Uh yeah, I never shot that deer. So my brother-in-law was hunting with me at the same time. He's in a tree stand and the bear decides to come up the tree on him. He's got a 38. I said, what are you gonna do with a 38? That's not gonna just gonna bounce off his head. He got so nervous he dropped the handgun. The handgun hit the bear in the head, bounced off the bear, and then the bear just said, "Man, I'm getting down," and went down. So I was like, this is crazy. We were young. I'm talking like 20. Yeah, we were young. We were young and stupid.
Young and invincible.
Yeah. So at any rate, so we're winding things down here. This is going to be your moment of philosophy.
Ah,
So if you were to give advice to a young and upcoming bow hunter, what would it be?
the advice I give most young bow hunters, if they'll listen to me, is one, don't put bow hunting ahead of God, family, or personal responsibility, because that's just not right.
Amen.
The second part of that is don't wait to take your big trips. If this is what you love to do, figure out a way to do it. Even if you say you can't afford it, you can. Just take $10 out of your wallet every now and then, throw it in a jar, and before you know it, you'll have a few thousand
You
dollars.
got that right.
And adventure is where you can find it. You can find adventure close to home. If you don't think you can, join Compton, PBS, and find some people. They'll get you on adventures.
Yeah.
Don't wait. My father, I got him into hunting. I took him and my mom to Africa. That was his big adventure. He always wanted to go, but he would just never spend the money to go. And then he got old. It was always something he was going to do in the future. But don't wait. Take your trip of a lifetime every year.
Yep.
Every year.
I'm doing that
And
now
don't
myself.
neglect your family to do it. But
No, no. You bring them
but
along. Bring them along.
or bring them along. That's right. Just figure out something. You can go to Hawaii.
I want my
You can
son
go to
and
Hawaii. Yeah, Hawaii is a perfect example. You can go to Hawaii. Your family will have a blast at the beach while you can go around and chase goats and pigs.
I want
For
my
a day or
daughter and or my son, Todd. I want either of them or both of them to come with me to Mexico. We would have a blast. I mean, it's insane.
well, Mexico's a great cultural experience. Even if you don't hunt, it's a cool. I love
It
Mexico.
is. It is.
Nice
I
people.
mean, look how tan I am. That's from Mexico. Oh man, I fell asleep in the chair out there, and not a good thing. So after
No.
2 hours, I actually burned up. I look like a Taco Bell burrito that's been left in the oven too long. My skin was like I was pulling sheets of skin off my body,
Oh,
face and arms, because I fell asleep, and
that
not
is
a
not.
good thing. Yeah, you got to use. Hey, bring when you got guys when you go to Mexico, saline solution for your nose and Vaseline so you don't have nosebleeds, and drink lots of water and bring sunscreen. I was not that smart, but at any
But you
rate,
will be next time.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So, Mr. Matt, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Drop Time
Thank you,
Traditions
Rick.
podcast. This has been fun.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Um, how can people get a hold of you and to
Oh,
learn about the
golly.
PBS
They
or
can, golly, I'm pretty hard to find because I'm not on social media. I don't know
okay?
why. I just never really got into that.
Can they
You can,
just go to the
but
PBS?
you can go to the PBS website and somebody will find me. I think I'm listed on the
Yes,
TBHOF
you are. Yep.
website,
Your
so I'm pretty
website,
easy to find
your
there.
email's on there. That's
Yep, I'm always happy to help people with anything, because as I said before, I'll never um, ever get back from this sport what it's given me. It's just been just a phenomenal ride. I hope I have a few years left.
you got plenty of years left, brother. You're younger than me, so
Well, all right, man. I hope to see you in the woods soon.
you will. You
All
will.
right.
Thank you so much again on behalf
Take
of the
care,
Drop
Rick.
Time Traditions podcast. Guys, I will put links in the descriptions. Please subscribe for sure, because that helps me. Like and share. All right, brothers. Thank you. Have a good night.